some people had a few words for President Biden speaking at Mother Emanuel. One of them was Congresswoman Nancy Mace of South Carolina. Listen to this idiot.
Hey everyone, this is Congresswoman Nancy Mace in Charleston, South Carolina today. Joe Biden ran for president to unite our country and restore the soul of America. And yet today, he's literally using the pulpit of a church where a tragedy took place in order to further divide our nation on race, on gender, and on politics. And that's not what Charleston is about. We unify in the face of adversity. We unify in the face of challenges, and we're not going to allow a president to come in here and divide us no matter what. And Joe Biden is using the pulpit of the church to cover up and not talk about real campaign issues like the economy, like inflation, record high inflation this country hasn't seen in decades. He wants to run.
I can't play all that bullshit. It's only a minute and a half. All right, here's the deal, Derek, that is, for me, a lot of people are talking about, well, he shouldn't have given this speech. First of all, anybody who says that has no understanding of the black church, has no understanding that it has been the place where we talked about politics, talked about religion, all those different things as well. But that's where he should be after 2 days after January 6th, where you had white domestic terrorists who tried to storm the Capitol, overthrow this country because they were pissed off with how black people voted in Atlanta, Philadelphia, Detroit, and Milwaukee.
You know, Roland, I absolutely agree with you. They have no idea. We are in the middle of a culture warfare. Since Barack Obama became president, we've been in a cultural warfare. President Biden today was simply highlighting what we know to be true about white supremacy and the history of this country. But to your point, Republicans cannot stand the truth, which is the reason why they're under not only our democracy is under assault, but they want to ban books. Roland, this reminds me of the movie from Denzel Washington, Eli. If they can harbor all the books, control all the books, they can control the narrative. And one of the narratives that they're trying to control, or whitewash, if you will, is the stain of this country. And we know that to be true. And all President Biden was doing today at Mother Emanuel AME Church in South Carolina is not only one, to remind us what took place 9 years ago in that same church, but number two, how important it is for us to heal. And if we don't heal by discussing and changing these incredulous laws that we have on the books, we're going to continue to have this fight, this cultural war that we're dealing with.
And the thing that's crazy to me on the Congo, and I look at some of these networks and I'm like, y'all really hire some of these people? So CNN went and dug up former Utah Congresswoman Mia Love to get her thoughts on this. And listen to what this fool had to say about Biden's speech.
Would have fared better if he actually gave credit where credit was due with Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley was the governor at that time and decided she was going to remove the Confederate flag from all state grounds. I mean, she did this. Biden didn't do it. She did it. So
okay, the reason I got to put that on pause is because ain't no way in hell I'm giving Nikki Haley credit for bringing the Confederate flag down. It was 9 black people who were gunned down that brought that flag down. Her ass don't get no credit for it. But Love was so even more pathetic, you know, that listen to the rest of this nonsense that, again, why do they even call her for any analysis?
I think that you need to give credit where credit is due. It's one of the things that Trump could never do. He took all of the credit for anything good that happened when Congress were writing the laws. He took credit for funding the HBCUs and making sure that the HBCUs were funded permanently. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I was so happy when Biden was campaigning and talking about his son and his commitment to find a cure for cancer. And according to the CDC, compared to other races, Black and African Americans are getting and dying from all kinds of cancers. They have the highest death rate for cancer overall. I want him to keep that promise because everybody, Democrats and Republicans, would hold hands. They would be hand in hand in trying to eradicate this country and other countries of cancer.
I can't listen to her drivel any longer, Omekongo.
Yo, I'm so glad you played that because I caught the tail end of that when I was driving, and so I'm listening, and so I actually thought they were doing a segment on cancer. I didn't know who it was. I didn't realize now I'm realizing it was Mia Love completely departing from this because Biden hasn't delivered a cure for cancer. He's not successful as a president. Look, Mia Love has no business being on there talking about credit where credit's due, didn't give that shout out to Bree Newsom that she deserved as well. The fact of the matter is I appreciate Biden going to a Black church and giving this speech and to an AME church. I was reading a letter from a Birmingham jail today, and I'm reading the part where Dr. King said, if the church of today does not recapture the sacrificial spirit of the early church, it will lose its authentic ring, forfeit the loyalty of millions, and be dismissed as an irrelevant social club with no meaning. And AME is not that. And so for Biden to go and give his second major speech of the year at this place where people are talking about how much support he's losing from the Black community, this is brilliant. This is not only strategic, but, and we could talk about political and all of that, but this is important for our soul. Too many of us feel like our struggles and our stories are being ignored and neglected, and that Republicans are dominating the narrative as people try to wash away our history. Just this weekend, Roland, as we all know, Donald Trump was talking about, oh yeah, the Civil War could have been negotiated. What, negotiate slavery? Like, oh, you keep what, half your slaves? Like, that's our story and our history. So Biden to go there, talk about, he said, quote, they're trying to turn a loss into a lie, and to also name white supremacy, which we've been asking them to do on a regular basis. This is what will galvanize a good portion of the Black community. I'm not a statistician. I can't speak to youth versus this, but I know that there are many of us in the Black community who will see this as somebody who's trying to speak to us when the other party is trying to silence our stories and our history. And this will galvanize support for Biden for many within the Black community. But outside of the politics, it's the right thing to be doing right now.
Julian?
Absolutely. I think it's the right thing to do. I think it was brilliant. Of course, Jim Clyburn is always on it, and he put some of this in context. Why wouldn't he be? That Nancy Mace person, I mean, she needs a brain implant. That's all I have to say, and I try to be polite because we have a history, as you said, we've all said, we've had a history. We've organized voter registration out of the church. We run Jesse Run out of the church. We are political. We have no choice but to be political, no choice but to do political education, no choice but to make sure that our candidates and everybody else comes to our churches and talks about us. I thought that I watched the thing live. I thought that he did a really great job. I think he refuted all this nonsense. The orange man talked about, tried to imitate him because of his stutter, which his stutter is basically very controlled. What we have with these Republicans are a bunch of mean-spirited people who basically want the status quo, and the status quo for them is for predatory profits, predatory capitalism. We want it all. And so the fact that Brother Biden started talking about profits just made me smile and say, he gets it. He gets it now. He's not a magic man. He can't, have a magic wand and make Congress do what he wants them to do. But he's made every effort, and I just applauded that. I hope the Orange Man and his minions were watching. But for Nancy Mace to have any kind of comment about the Black church is specious. And then poor little Mia Love, again, I'm trying not to be personal, But when they stitch that wig on her head, they stitch out a couple of brain cells because, frankly, what she had to say was just wrong, stupid, and inappropriate. Like I don't know why she keeps popping up, but I guess CNN feels like they need to have a black Republican. Hell, go get Michael Steele. He has 10 times more sense.
That's right.